Right. Ready.
It's been about 4 weeks since the tomato plants have been in the ground. You can see they're looking very healthy. Very good leaf growth, large sized leaves. And they are at this point ready to put the supports in to keep them up. You can see this plant here, this is a brandywine, is growing very healthy with the various vines coming out, and I'll move those around the cage to space them out around the cage and have each vinyl then be a very strong producing tomato plant. You'll see the big strong leaves here. Nice good sized leaves. We even also have tomatoes coming on. So that's a good sign. They'll probably be ready in about 3 weeks. We'll have tomatoes.
You see?
Give you a sense of what kind of plants are in. I have 15 plants in, but these plants here are Triple L heirloom. All these plants are heirloom plants. These over here are cherry tomatoes. These are Tommy Toe cherry tomatoes. You can see they're more vigorous and faster growing than the bigger tomato plants. It's about time to prune these. This row here, this bed has all the brandywines in them. And you can see some very healthy looking brandywine plants. And then this last bed is where I have my Arkansas Travelers. There's 5 plants here in this bed. I want to sport these here in just a minute and spread out the vines so that they'll spread out all around the cage, and then I'll train them up the side of the cage and tie them up so they'll withstand the wind. Okay, here we have this good looking brandywine plant. It was got probably about 10 vines coming off it from the base and up from the top, and I needed to get it spread out around the cage, and then also started putting on the supports because the wind will start blowing, and when those tomatoes come on, until that thing gets big, it'll blow around and could destroy the plant or the tomatoes. So I do a crisscross, use 3 supports and do kind of a triangle at the base to support the middle of the plant, and then spread out the vines around the cage. Again, this one's looking really good. It's got some really good looking tomatoes coming on, and we're looking forward to those. So now these need to be pruned. Again, I'm a little bit behind on pruning, but what you want to do is at the crook of the plant, you'll see what's called a sucker coming out. This is a sucker here, and so you'll want to take those out so you get all the strength going into the tomato vine that's got all the tomatoes on it. So you just prune those off and then take those and throw those out. If that sucker gets too big, you don't want to shock the plant too much by pruning those. So what you want to do is just prune off the tip. Now this one here is getting a little big. If you can show that there. So that one's getting a little big. That's about as big as you want to prune it. If it gets any bigger than that, what you'll want to do is you'll see this little new growth coming on, and that's where you'll want to prune, right there. But this one is just about the right size, no bigger than that, so I'll just prune that off and just pinch it off with your fingers, and they come off real easy. So what you want to do is go all around the plant and get those suckers and prune those off. Here's one here. Again, that one's a little too big, so what I'll do is I'll just prune it off right there. And that's how you prune a tomato plant. And you'll want to do that all around so that you get all the strength going into producing the tomatoes. So there's the supports, the vines spread around the cage, and then pruning those suckers so you get all the energy of the plant going into the tomatoes and into the vines that have the tomatoes on it.